I want something that I can sink my teeth into and be creative. I always want to be creative. I want to be part of a story. Less
Yeah.
is more, and don't be afraid to slow down. I can't remember anything. My brain's just foggy. I feel like my mind's been erased. I had like an epiphany, and I was like, why don't I like start doing this character where I make people feel the way that I feel right now. It kind of just threw us together randomly. We clicked and we noticed that something was there. That's one of my favorite experiences that I've ever had in wrestling. We got an ambulance. We're going to back it up through this garage door and you're going to jump out of it. I feel like we really struck gold there. Never get comfortable. Always try for more. He kind of just took it and did her own thing, and I love it. I love what she's done. At that time, I was done.
Call it how I see it, straight talk, no disguise. So the slang dripping, got the truth in my eyes. Might like gavel, every word, lay it down. Coach C in the booth, turn the game all around. Yeah, it's Coach C, he the best for business. It's Coach C, he the best for business. Yeah, I'm sharp as attack when I call the play-by-play. Every dog got his day, and I make the crowd stay. It's every week we go live on a Wednesday. Dressing so sharp, that's a reason why your friends stay. The youngest in the game to do it, best for business. Coach C is the truth and everybody gonna witness. Love entertainment, you swear it's your destiny. Link with Coach C, we can talk about your legacy. It's Coach C, he the best for business. It's Coach C, he the best for business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. This one I'm excited for. Mike Graca, thank you for joining me. But thank you for everything. Like I told you, you were part of the first ever indie show I went to. So the fact all these years later, thank you for everything.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for this. Really excited for this.
I'm excited for this too. You've had a storied career, so I'm excited to learn about it. So when we talk about it, pro wrestling, you've done so much, but what was the thing about wrestling that even made you interested at first?
Honestly, I've been a wrestling fan since I popped out. So
Yeah.
I'd probably say like the larger than life characters. I didn't speak English at first, so it was something English that I could understand almost.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. It was one of those things that I looked forward to watching every Saturday morning or whenever it would come on Mondays or whatever. It
Yeah.
was it was awesome. It
Yeah,
was
so then we talk about, I didn't even know this till you were telling me. So you play football and soccer. So how does wrestling come aboard originally for you?
so like I said, I've been a fan my whole life.
Yeah,
I didn't really see wrestling as an option at the beginning. So I
yeah,
played soccer because my dad played semi-pro basically like my whole childhood. Um, he still plays rec now, but it's in the family. So I
yeah,
wanted to play soccer, and I noticed that I wanted to do something a little bit more physical. So I decided why not football. So I played football from like the time I think I was like 9 to when I graduated high school. So yeah,
yeah. So you do soccer and you do football. What is the age that pro wrestling is something that interests you and you find it originally?
17.
Yeah,
17. Yeah, I was 17. I think yeah, the year was 2011.
wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, how do you even come across? Because like you talk about, especially during that time, the wrestling scene isn't that big and even in this area. So how do you find it?
I stumbled on YouTube across a match. It was a steel cage match. It was Bob Evans versus Brian Fury. So I don't remember what show it was from, but I saw it. I was just on YouTube in one of my like I think it was video production class, and I was like, "What's this?" Like
Yeah,
I didn't even know independent wrestling existed.
yeah,
So it blew my mind. I was like, on a local level, what? So
yeah,
I started doing some research, and I was like, "Oh, there's a school in the area." So I brought it up to my parents, and they're like, "No, no, you're going to college. You're gonna go do
yeah,
all this stuff." And in the process of all that happening, I met a friend that was doing backyard wrestling, and at one of his events that he had in his backyard, I met T. I met this guy Jimmy Hansen. I don't know if you know who Jimmy
Oh yeah.
Hansen is. Yeah, and I met Christopher Sterling. They were all there, and they suggested, "Hey, why don't you come to our building and train around a little bit, and maybe you can get on some shows with us." And the rest is history from there. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
Who
just
trained
happened to
you
be.
originally?
So originally, it was like the group,
Yeah.
the RWA group as a whole. So like T Hansen, Mike Montero, um, Jason Devine, like that core group of people, and then Jose Perez came along, and I kind of tagged along with him just about everywhere. Like I began like taking this serious around like end of 2011, beginning of 2012. I started hopping in cars with him, just going to random shows, and
Wow.
that's how I met JT. That's how I met a bunch of people, and that's JT and Jose. That's who I really like. I credit with my training.
Yeah.
So JT started running a school with RWA, and
Mhm.
that's where I got the bulk of it. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You talk about doing a lot of travel with Jose. Is there like a lesson or just a message that stands out learning from that guy?
Less is more.
Yeah.
It's the one thing he preaches. Less
Yeah.
is more, and don't be afraid to slow down. Like slow down. You think you're going too slow? Slow down.
Wow.
Like yeah.
You've had your career goes on and on. So originally, how do we get to the mind eraser? Originally, I know you don't start right away as the mind eraser. So how long does it take you to find and feel comfortable with wrestling? Because I know at first, like you're Mike Graca at first, but when do you really start getting comfortable with it?
So I was under the moniker Mr. Awesome for a while.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it was just a nickname from football that stuck, and I kind of just stuck with it, like I said. And it wasn't until 2013, yeah, 2013, I got like a really bad concussion. And I was depressed, really not really feeling it. And I remember I was brushing my teeth one day and I had like an epiphany. And I was like, why don't I like start doing this character where I make people feel the way that I feel right now? Like I can't remember anything. My brain's just foggy. I feel like my mind's been erased. And right when I said that to myself, it was the light bulb went bing, and I was like,
Wow.
so yeah. And I love the roller coaster at Six Flags. So yeah.
Yeah. When you originally think of the mind eraser, you come across it, you're just brushing your teeth. What are you going for first? Because that's one of the things I loved about Mike Graca, even when I first started going as a fan. So different than everything else on the independent scene. So what were you originally going for? You had the name, but what do you do for persona?
So originally, I wanted it to be more of a like an escape mental patient. Like
Okay.
that was the original idea. I would have a storyline where I would get committed and all this stuff, and I would escape from the hospital. Um, to its roots, the character still is that,
Yeah.
but I've added a bunch of layers here and there with video packages and mockumentaries and stuff like that that I've gotten to do throughout the years. But it's been fun. I've
Yeah.
had like a blast doing it. So yeah, I'm a huge horror fan, so I've added that layer into it as
Yeah.
well. So yeah.
What were like some of the inspirations with these masks? Because that's one thing about Mike Ross. I remember when you first started, you had I think it was like a brown mask or something, and then you have the one with the hand. Like your creativity is top. Have you always been this creative?
Yeah, so when I went to college, I went for studio art.
Oh, okay.
I've always been into art and stuff. I was a tattoo artist for a while. Yeah, so I've always been super creative, and my entrance gear has always been an area in wrestling where I could like express myself. So the first mask that you saw, which was the brown one that was like rotted skin stitched
Okay.
together that looked like a lucha mask. Um, I had a friend who did special effects makeup for Paramount, and he was living in LA. And one day he messaged me out of the blue and was like, "Hey, what are your head measurements?" And I was like, "What are you talking about, dude?" So I sent them to him, and then like 3 weeks later, that mask just popped up at my house, and I was like, "This is insane," because he knows my favorite horror character is Leatherface, always
Yeah.
has been. Um, So yeah, that mask just popped up out of nowhere, and I was like, I'm gonna use this. So I wrestled with it on a few times. Way too hot. Never
Yeah.
again. So I was like, I'm just gonna use this for my entrances and maybe a couple of comedy things here and there to scare people and whatnot. So yeah, that's where that mask came from. As far as the handsome one,
What a name.
so the manufacturer that produces that mask is called Pumpkin Pulp.
Okay.
They supply for a store in Salem, Mass, called the Magic Parlor. Um, I was just we were walking. Katie and I were walking in Salem before a Proving Ground show, I think it was, and we were. I love that store, so we were in the store just browsing, and it caught my eye. Like I was just browsing around the store, and then I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I was like, I'm getting that. I don't care what we do. I'm not leaving the store without that.
Wow.
And it was like the coolest mask I've ever seen in my life. So I was like, I have to have this. I grabbed it, and now it's stuck with me. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it on the independent scene.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. When you look at Mike Graca's career, what would you consider your first big opportunity when it came to wrestling?
so pretty early on, I got to do some cool things. I got to team with Tony Atlas very early on. I just happened to be tagging along with JT to a UFO show in Somerville, and I guess somebody got hurt, and they were like, "Hey, kid, you have your gear, right? Come on, you're on the show." So, oh, by the way, you're teaming with Tony Atlas. So, okay. So
Yeah.
I got to do that pretty early with XWA because I started with XWA pretty early on too. I was around 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
I got to do some stuff with Gilbert and Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Reed Flair. And yeah, pretty early on, I got to do some really cool stuff with people that I watched on TV. So it
Wow.
was really cool.
Yeah. How does Fit to be Tied come together, you and Smiley?
So we got randomly put together. We got randomly put together for this company called New England Frontier Wrestling. It was a Western Mass company. They
Okay.
used to run out of Chicopee, Mass. Yeah, they kind of just threw us together randomly for one show. And Smiley and I, we've always been cool. And he's going to be a groomsman in my wedding. But
Nice.
we clicked and we noticed that something was there. It kind of was dormant for a little bit. And then Drew Cordero, the guy who runs Beyond,
Yeah.
uh, said to me, like, hey, you have a tag partner, right? And I said, yeah. Because I want to be on the shows, you know? And he
Yeah.
was like, I was like, yeah, Smiley. I hit up Smiley, and then he's like, all right, you guys are fit to be tied. That's your name. And I was like, oh, cool.
Wow.
And that's how that came about. Yeah.
So you guys originally were just like Mike Ross and Smiley, or he thought of it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We were just thrown together. Yeah.
Wow. When I look at Tag Team Sue, what's the original idea behind the New Gore Order?
New Gore Order was an XWA thing on
Yeah.
the Thursday night shows. It was kind of just a bunch of random dudes and Rich Bass just thrown together, and I was shuffling names around, and I was like, I'm pretty gory. These guys, they like to beat people up too, so we're a bunch of badasses, and then we have Rich Bass who does a lot of talking, and I was like, oh, he reminds me of Eric Bischoff, so there's New World Order, and I was like, we like to mangle people. So there's a gore, and I was like, New Gore Order, yeah, fine,
Wow.
yeah. So there's that, and yeah, but it was the original incarnation of New Gore Order was it was like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
The chemistry that I had with Trips and Josh Briggs, off the charts. I love teaming with both of them. I still do with Trips to this day. So
Do you remember like what the conversation is like? Because like you guys are like top heels for this company, and then like when you think about it, you Trigger the OG, Josh Briggs, like people don't think it's gonna work at first, but you guys made it did.
yeah, we made it work, and we all had we were all very like minded, and we wanted to make this work because not only because we wanted our own individual success in XWA or in New England generally, but we all liked each other, so it was we're all really cool with each other. So it was like, why not make this work? This, it could be something cool. Maybe even venture out and do it other places. But and it ended up being like an exclusive XWA thing. But it was some of the funnest times that I've had.
Yeah. And then with that, it's he. I don't think he does XWA. When you team with Devin Blaze, do you bring New Gore Order there? How does the conversation happen? Or was he in it with her?
So I did a random Pioneer Valley pro wrestling show,
Hmm.
and I was supposed to team with Josh Briggs, but Briggs had something to do that day. I don't know if it was a family emergency or something.
Yeah.
And uh, Tunis, the guy who runs PvP, was like, "Hey, how about Devin Blaze?" I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Are you guys changing your name?" I said, "No, just keep it New Gore Order." And so that was back in 2016, I think. Yeah, 2016. And then our incarnation of New Gore Order didn't come along until like 2021.
Yeah.
But that was like the seeds were planted there.
I didn't even know that. Wow. When you mentioned XWA, I believe it was for there. For you, how was the experience getting to share the ring with Paul London?
Honestly, uh, that's one of my favorite experiences that I've ever had in wrestling. Paul is one of those people that just sitting and talking to him, you're learning.
Yeah.
It's and you won't even be talking about wrestling. You're learning about life. You're learning about something. It's his knowledge is invaluable, and he's a great guy as well. He's always trying to give back. So to be able to get in the ring with him and put on a show was I,
Yeah.
I had to pinch myself a couple times in the ring. Like
Wow.
it was really cool, really
Yeah.
cool. And somebody I consider a friend now. Like whenever he's in the area, I'll give him a quick message. Hey, you want to go get dinner or something? So yeah,
Nice.
he's great. Yeah.
Wow. For you, what were the days like when you were part of those signature scrambles for Limitless Wrestling? Like, how are those experiences? Because I still watch back, they still hold up.
Oh yeah, those were those I, like those were
Yeah.
awesome. Like I very vaguely remember the one that had MJF in it.
Hmm.
It was just a bunch of random people just thrown in the ring, and they're like, just go make something out of it. And it was a bunch of like-minded people just trying to get over, just doing their best stuff. And I feel like all the scrambles at Limitless were that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they still do them, do they?
Sometimes, depends on the
Sometimes.
show. But I don't think they hold up the way those did.
Yeah, those are insane. Even the ones that I had with like Bear Bronson and James Drake and Mr. Graham. Oh God, those are those are awesome. Yeah.
Now, does Randy come to you, or is this your idea? I remember Mike Ross at the entrance from the ambulance.
So he had come to me. Yeah, he
Okay.
had come to me and said, "Hey, we have something cool planned for you." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, we got an ambulance." I was like, "All right." He said, "We're gonna back it up through this garage door, and you're gonna jump out of it." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
Wow.
cool." And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna have Adam Booker do an open challenge, and we're gonna play your music. The garage door is gonna open. We're gonna have a nurse fly out of the door crying or whatnot, and then you're gonna jump out and scare everybody and go to the ring and wrestle a match." Um, I almost busted my ass jumping out of the ambulance because there's like a hook that like holds the stretcher when you put
Okay.
the stretcher inside,
Yeah.
and nobody told me. So I open the door and go to jump out, and I like stumble out and almost fall on my face.
Yeah.
So that would have been a whole other.
You didn't rehearse it at all? You just went for it?
No, they just told me, yeah, just open the door and jump out. I said, okay. Nobody told me about the hook. Yeah.
Wow. When I talk about Mike Graca, you were killing it for a while in wrestling. Then you wrestled Nick Marchand in a legacy. And then at time, was that to decide you were done with pro wrestling or you thought it was taking a break? Or what was that for you at that time?
At that time, I was done
Really? Okay.
mentally. Mentally, I was shot. Um,
Just like burnt out or like you just wanted out or
my mental health was.
Okay.
garbage. And I wanted to focus more on other things. I wasn't really having too much fun wrestling anymore.
Okay.
So I wanted to put my energy into tattooing, which I was just getting my license at the time to do that in Rhode Island. So I wanted to put my focus into that and maybe build a life, like start a new chapter essentially. But
Yeah.
yeah, obviously I'm here now, so
I was
that
gonna say in 2021, do you have like a moment, or after a while you just missed it?
so what had happened was tattooing didn't work out of for reasons that I really didn't have too much control over, but it didn't really work out. So I was just floating. Really, I had opportunities to go back to wrestling like via XWA or other companies, but I declined them all because of the situation that I was in personally. I was in a relationship where it really wasn't allowed. Oh, you can't go to these things because you're supposed to be here with me, type of thing. I was not smart, I wasn't making smart decisions. So I was just floating around for about 3 years, and I started getting the itch. I was like, I need to do something. I need wrestling again. So
Yeah.
I started posting just random pictures from the past. And I remember getting a message from T saying, "Hey, the door is open, right?" And I said, "Oh," and I jumped right through the door. I jumped
Wow.
right through the door. Yeah.
Yeah. When you talk company since coming back, one of them, Fight Life, I want to talk about. You've had some insane matches. For you, is there a match from Fight Life that stands out for you that you've been a part of?
So I have had a couple. I can say maybe two or three that I have that stand out for me. So the false count anywhere match that I had with Gall.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was wild. I remember we took out the string lights that were outside. Got yelled at for that.
I
But
think it was the debut at that venue.
yeah, yeah. The debut with the false count anywhere match,
Yeah.
and then that no holds barred match that I had with Jimmy Lloyd was another one that stands out for me. And the last man standing match that I had with Lucas Chase there too.
Yeah.
All matches that we went crazy with, and I thank Frankie all the time for giving me that type of freedom. So yeah.
The thing I like about Mike Graca when it comes to Fight Life, like the storylines, like the program you had with Gal and Paris Van Dale, the program you had with Lucas Chase, like I'm excited. I hope Fight Life returns in the future too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've always tried to relate to promoters like, hey, I want something that I can sink my teeth into and be creative.
Yeah.
I always want to be creative. I want to be part of a story. I've never been a huge fan of just been like doing like one-offs here and there. I'm very much a story-driven
Yeah.
character. Even my character, you look at my character, there's something that has a story with it already. Off the rip, there's a
Yeah.
story behind the Mind Eraser characters. So to add to that is always a priority of mine.
I know it was like a one-off, but even like Fight Life being, I think it was like 4 months in, you got to wrestle Gangrel too, which was
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah, yeah. That was a awesome experience. I've somebody that I've idolized my whole life, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, really cool. Again, somebody that is like a huge wealth of knowledge and super down to earth too, who I can just sit down and have a conversation with and not really not about wrestling. So
Yeah.
it was whenever you can sit down and talk to somebody like that, not about wrestling, like good in my books.
Yeah.
Like, because
And
there's so
expect
much pressure. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, you talk pressure and everything. When you talk storylines of Mike Graca, for you to be in the whole program with BMT for RWA, main event of Legacy, steel cage match, you've been a part of RWA longer than me. Probably one of, if not the biggest house RWA has had. For you, what did that whole storyline and that moment mean when that 3 count happened?
So honestly, it was like a huge full circle moment. So I left RWA in 2018. I didn't know if I was going to be back to wrestling at
Yeah.
all. So to come back home, essentially, and it took me, what was that, 2024?
Four,
Yeah,
yeah.
2024, because last year I was out pretty much the whole year.
Yeah.
But yeah, to do that, come back and 3 years later, enter this story with somebody who I hold like crazy amount of respect for, and be able to mix it up with him and Ariel, and it was awesome. Like I learned so much from him. I learned so much from her. Katey learned so much from her as well.
Yeah.
I feel like we really struck gold there, and the chemistry was very, very apparent. I hold that cage match up very, very high on my list. Very,
Mhm.
very high on my list. It was one of those things that we went out there and we didn't even really have to do too much, but we decided to go crazy and
Yeah.
jump off the cage and land and stuff. I landed
You
like a Street Fighter character.
you say you hold that cage match up there. Is there like a Mike Graca match that you put up there, number one?
That one's up there. That
Yeah.
one is up there. I do have a match from a random XWA throwdown that I had with JT uh, up there as well. Hmm. I had a no disqualification match with Ace and Romero over there too.
Nice.
Some of my best matches were just on a random Thursday night
Yeah.
in West Warwick, Rhode Island.
That was
Like,
the beauty of XWA too. Like even
yeah,
Tony P tells me all the time, like when you showed up on Thursday, half the time you didn't even know who you were wrestling.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. When you talk lightning in a bottle, you've done so much in wrestling. You're killing it, RWA champion. When you get injured against Cash Money, what is the mindset? Is it as fast as you can come back? Are you slowly but surely? What's the mindset for you originally?
So at by that point, I'm a dad, so
Yeah.
I had to think of how am I going to support my family, like
Yeah.
because not only wrestling was out of the question, I had to take time off of the day job, so it was really rough. It was
Yeah.
really rough. My mindset went like immediately to how am I going to put food on the table? Like it was wild and it was really rough for the family. But got through it.
Yeah.
Uh I ended up getting surgery 3 months later after it happened because they originally thought that the break wasn't too bad, that I was able to going to be able to PT it back to health. Um in that time I went to Disney, which wasn't that smart of an idea, but I walked around every day on a broken
Wow.
ankle. Um, and then came back and realized that this isn't getting better. So I went and got an MRI done, and they were like, "It's a mess in there. We got to go in there and clean everything up," because I essentially blew everything out. So
Yeah.
they went in there and they fixed everything and set me back another few months. So I ended up being out for a total of like 7.5 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was like the estimate? Is that what like the injury is usually like 7 to 10, or because they thought you didn't need surgery at first? You was it longer?
So they thought that I didn't need surgery. So I was originally slated to be back in June.
Okay.
In June. And then they told me I needed surgery. So they're like, "Oh, you're gonna need like the rest of the year." And I was like, "No, that doesn't work for me, brother."
Yeah.
Like no. So I basically told my physical therapist to just help me out, brother. Like I
Yeah.
need put me on the fast track. So
Nice.
I was in the PT office like 2, 3 times a week. We're just
Right.
working, really trying to get back. And I was able to come back like 3 months ahead of schedule. So
Wow.
yeah.
What would you say is the biggest difference from Mike Graca before and after the injury? Because you were doing a lot in wrestling, but now you're going all out. And we're talking about debuts for companies like Grind and Blitzkrieg. You've done a lot since. So, what was the mindset before getting injured? And what's the biggest difference with Mike Graca, you'd say?
So the mindset now is I'm coming for everything. Like
Nice.
I
Yeah.
do not want to just be content being and working. I mean, no disrespect at all to the smaller companies and the more
Yeah.
local companies, but uh I've always lived by the notion that you never get comfortable. Never get comfortable. Always strive for more.
Yeah.
So I am like hell bent on really pushing to make a name for myself around the area, not only in New England, but probably in the country right now. And
Nice.
if something were to happen where it's international, great. I'm
Nice.
all for it. The
Yeah.
door is open. The door is open. Yeah.
Yeah. When I talk about tests for Mike Graca, one of the companies that you've been wrestling different people is Focus Pro. Is there a match from Focus Pro that stands out because you're having relaxed rules matches, first time evers? Is there a match that stands out? Because you've been with Focus Pro, is it since the beginning? Or
So
one of the first?
they were around for I think a year or maybe 2 years before I came
Okay.
on. I think it was a year, but I got to have some really cool matches with like Seabass, and I had a pretty cool storyline with Diego Alvarez over there. Ended with a body bag match, which was
Wow.
fun.
Yeah.
Um, J JB Anderson's awesome. I love the relaxed rules match that we had over there. Uh, my match this coming Saturday with Akira, I'm really looking forward to as well. So,
Yeah. Were you always big like a hardcore guy?
I mean, yeah, I've always been a huge
Yeah, because I
fan.
remember that match you had at Marchand, you did like was it tax on tables and all that stuff too?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been willing to go a little bit outside the box, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. When you talk about your creative elements flowing originally, how does the idea come, or is it your idea with the trauma factor? Because you talk about factors. You ripped Bison at first, people might not like think, but you guys made it work. Then adding Sammy Chaos in there. How much input did you have in all this?
So Frankie came to me with the idea of having a group. I was all for it.
Yeah.
I basically put my trust in him with like choosing members and stuff like that. I've known Rip probably for as long as I've been wrestling, maybe give or take a couple of years. So I know he's good and he knows what he's doing. So I was like, sure, I'll take him on.
Yeah.
His character kind of meshes with mine pretty well. So we'll make it work. And Sammy is Sammy. She's awesome. She is
Yeah.
a beast. And all the three of us together, it was again lightning in a bottle.
Nice.
Frankie came up with the idea, and I'm just trying to run with it. It's working. It's
Yeah.
working.
When you talk about adding elements to your character, you mentioned Katie and the relationship that you guys have. Did Katie always want to be involved in wrestling? If so, how do you add Katie to Mike Rossi? Because you talk about the presentation that you have, Katie's just a different element added.
Mhm. So originally, she trained to be a wrestler, but she has a degenerative disc disease in her neck
Okay.
and scoliosis and all that stuff, so she can't really be bumping too much. So wrestling's off the table for her.
Yeah.
And I came to her with the idea of like, hey, why don't you valet me? Like, you want to be a part of it, so I'll give you the closest thing possible that you can do. And she hopped right on that. So,
Yeah.
and adding her to the Mind Eraser character was a challenge at first because honestly, I'm like this big scary guy, wow, booga booga booga, but
Yeah.
you have an element of humanization almost. Like she humanizes me to a point where I can gain more sympathy from fans. So it's like
Okay.
she makes me a better babyface,
Yeah.
like a way better babyface, because she makes me a man where without her I'm more of a monster. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah.
Was there like inspiration or anything you guys were going for at first? Because I remember before, was it when Katie first started managing you, she had a mask of her own too and all that?
Mhm. Yeah, she did. I wanted originally to have her more be kind of like me, but
Okay.
she kind of just took it and did her own thing, and I love it. I love what she's done. I love that she's kind of like this BDSM kind
Yeah,
of
she's coming to
like,
her own. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I'm super proud of her and what she's
Nice.
done with her little character that she's built for herself. I'm I'm super proud of her. Like it's
What's that been like for you, especially to have Katie out there for all the matches for you?
so. I'll be honest. I don't tell her anything that I'm going to do in the ring at all.
Yeah.
Never do. Never do.
Yeah.
Because I want genuine reactions from her. So let's just say I'm gonna be getting suplexed off the top of a cage. I'm not telling her. I'm not telling her that.
Yeah.
So we get a genuine reaction when it happens.
Wow.
So her reaction will elicit similar, if not bigger, reactions from the crowd. So
Nice.
uh, I tell her all the time, "No, I'm not telling you what I'm doing," all the time, and she's like, "Fine." or she'll come over. Hey, do you have anything for me to do in the match? I'm like, yeah, you're gonna do this, this, and this. And she's like, oh, okay. So what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm not doing anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. When you look at Mike Graca's career and everything you got to do so far, who, whether it's when you first started or now, who brings the best out of Mike Graca? Because you've put on great matches, but to you, who brings the best out of you, you'd say?
So I do have like a list, list of maybe like 3 or 4 people that
Yeah.
I can say like really, really bring it out of me. I would say obviously JT is one of those people. Every time we've gotten in the ring, it's been like the fight of my life. So I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Triplicious or Trigger the OG.
Yeah.
He's another one that tested me very, very, very early in my career. So I owe a lot to him. I learned a lot from him. Uh, Chris Pyro. Chris Pyro's one guy that I was thrown in there with very young and just teach this kid a little bit. So I had some crazy matches with him as well.
Yeah.
And the last person on the list, I'd probably say Davey Cash, who's another one that I was kind of just thrown in there with, and T kind of like pulled Davey aside. I was like, just teach this kid a few things, and it was like I said before, lightning in a bottle. I think we can call the episode this.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You talk about everything you got to do in wrestling, but now you started to mention it. What does the future hold for Mike Ross? To start getting bigger and better companies, or what's to you for the future?
Yeah, I want to be more places. I want to branch out from New England a little bit more, like I've done in the past. I wouldn't mind venturing towards the West Coast,
Nice.
the southern part of the country. I want to go everywhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've been in talks with a company in Portugal. I would love to go out there because obviously my family, my heritage. So
Yeah.
I would love to be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Is
just
there,
want.
if someone was to ask you, because I know you wrestle so many people, is there like 1 or 2 matches that stand out that Mike Ross hasn't had yet?
So one of them I'm having on this coming Saturday. I know you released these.
Yeah, it's probably like May or somewhere in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah. So Akira
Nice.
is one of those people. I really want to get in the ring with Atticus Cogar. Like that's
Yeah.
probably number one on my list right now.
Nice.
So I'm really trying to make that happen. I wouldn't mind tangling up with Gangrel again, Paul London again,
Yeah.
getting in there with probably Mortar again. I loved working with him. The first time I ever wrestled him, they said, "Oh, by the way, it's a cage match." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah.
So we went out there and just had a crazy cage match. First time ever touching.
Wow.
It was great. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Mike, I can't thank you enough. I'm excited to see when this airs, the matches. I think those can definitely happen 100%.
No, I hope so too. Yeah.
Well, Mike, I can't thank you enough for joining me. However, every episode I've done is ended the same. The day you decide it's all done, now I know you're taking time off, but you talk about that itch wrestling has. The day you decide it's all done in wrestling, what do you want the mind eraser Mike Ross, or what do you want Mike Ross's legacy in pro wrestling to be?
So I've obviously put a lot of thought into this. So
Yeah.
I really, really, really want to be known as one of the most unique characters that this area has really have ever seen. So that's my goal. That's my priority. I've always tried to be different from everybody else.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Mike, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for everything. After this, I got to send you the picture. One of the first ever wrestlers I met. The fact that I got to call matches and be a part of shows, thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And you've had a stacked career. Down the line, we got to do a part 2 or something.
Yeah, I'm all for it. All for it.
100%. Let's do it. Thank you, Mike, for doing this, and thank everybody for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.
Thank you for watching this episode of Best for Business. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, because this is Best for Business.